Here are incredible stories of people who scored unbelievable finds that instantly made them millionaires. Find out which lucky shopper bought an old ceramic bowl for $3 only to sell it for $2.2 million. 15. The $5 yard sale masterpiece. Some folks go out to yard sales hoping to score a couple of cheap knickknacks. But one woman in Philadelphia got a whole lot more than she bargained for when she paid just $5 for a painting she thought was merely decorative. The painting, hidden behind a plastic frame, turned out to be an original piece by one of the most sought-after painters of the 19th century, Martin Johnson Head. Talk about an upgrade from worthless wall art to a museum-worthy masterpiece. The painting, titled Magnolias on Gold Velvet Cloth, was eventually appraised to be worth over $1 million. That's some serious yard sale treasure right there. Today it hangs in a museum, but we'll bet you she's still pinching herself to make sure it wasn't all a dream. So the next time you're flipping through someone's dusty art pile at a yard sale, keep that eye sharp. You never know if you're passing up the next Martin Johnson Head or a lost Van Gogh. 14. The old couch that hid a fortune. In 2014, 3 college roommates from New York found a ratty-looking couch in a thrift store for $20. After a few weeks of complaining how lumpy it felt, they finally opened up the cushions and discovered over $40,000 in cold hard cash stashed inside. Imagine shelling out $20 only to find enough money to pay off student loans and then some. But the story doesn't end there. The friends found a deposit slip with the couch and tracked down the rightful owner, an elderly woman who had hidden her life savings in the couch and then by accident donated it. The roommates returned the money to her, and out of gratitude she rewarded them for their honesty. Some might say they missed out on a fortune, but hey, you can't buy good karma. The moral of the story? Always check under those couch cushions, or better yet, in the couch itself. 13. A fortune buried in the backyard. A California couple was out walking their dog on their property when they noticed a rusted can poking out of the ground. Thinking it was trash, they decided to dig it out, only to discover an entire stash of mint-condition gold coins. The coins, dating from the late 1800s, were valued at over $10 million. Can you imagine just taking your dog for a walk, sipping on your morning coffee, and stumbling upon buried treasure worth 8 figures? No metal detector, no treasure map, just pure random luck. Experts believe the coins were likely buried back in the days of the gold rush. If you own property with a bit of history, maybe it's time to do some gardening. Would you keep such a find or sell it off and retire? Let us know what you would do in the comments below. 12. The $3 thrift store bowl. Next time you're browsing random ceramics, remember this story. A family in New York found a small white bowl in a local garage sale, thought it looked kind of nice, so they paid $3 for it. It sat on their mantle for a few years until curiosity struck and they had it appraised. Turns out it was a 1,000-year-old Chinese ding bowl from the Northern Song dynasty. In an auction at Sotheby's, it sold for a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. Good luck finding that kind of return on investment in the stock market. So the next time you see your grandma's old bowls in the cupboard, maybe do a bit of research before you toss them on eBay for a couple bucks. Do us a quick favor and hit that like button. 11. The Declaration of Independence in a frame. Think of all those cheap prints and beat-up frames you come across at flea markets. One man bought an old painting for $4 just because he wanted the frame, but when the frame broke, a folded document fell out. That document was an original copy of the Declaration of Independence, one of only 24 known to exist. After authenticating the document, he sold it for $2.4 million. Then that buyer turned around and sold it again for over $8 million. Not a bad day for someone who only wanted a cheap frame to redecorate his house. Next time you buy old art for the frame, maybe check behind it before you toss anything out. 10. The record store vinyl jackpot. If you're a vinyl junkie, keep your eyes peeled. A British collector found a rare copy of the Beatles' Please Please Me in a thrift store's discount bin. He paid just a couple of bucks, thinking maybe he could flip it for a small profit. After some serious research, he realized it was a first pressing that was worth thousands. He ended up selling it for enough money to take a dream vacation. The best part? He found the record right after complaining that all thrift store vinyl selections were garbage that day. Don't you love it when the universe humbles you like that? 9. A rare football card in a family trunk. Imagine stumbling upon an old trunk in your grandparents' attic. You pop it open expecting dusty clothes or outdated letters, only to find a vintage sports card from the early 1900s. That's exactly what happened to one super lucky family. They discovered a near-mint condition Honus Wagner baseball card, a holy grail for collectors. The card sold for millions, launching the family from average Joes to multi-millionaires overnight. Collectors dream of finding that famous T206 Honus Wagner, but only a handful of copies exist in the entire world. If you're rummaging through your grandparents' old keepsakes, remember this story and check those old sports cards carefully. 8. The meteorite that fell on the farm. If a rock literally falls from the sky, you might just ignore it. But for one farmer in Indonesia, that rock turned out to be a rare meteorite valued at over $1.5 million. The hunk of space debris weighed around 4.5 pounds, and it ended up being over 4 billion years old, older than the Earth itself. Just think about it. You're out on your farm, minding your own business when you hear a crash near your house. That's the cosmic equivalent of winning the lottery. He sold the meteorite to a collector and used the money to fix his home and help his community. Now that's luck that's truly out of this world. 7. The $30 diamond in the rough. Here's another reason to never walk past those weird-looking costume jewelry pieces at the thrift shop. A woman in London spotted a chunky costume diamond ring at a flea market for $10, about $13, back in the 1980s. She wore it casually for decades, not realizing it was actually a 26-carat diamond. Years later, she had it checked out and discovered it was worth around $450,000. She ended up selling it at auction for a life-changing sum. Let's just say that ring box in your attic might be more interesting than you think. 6. A doorstop worth $100K. Doorstops can be anything heavy, right? In this case, an elderly man had used a weird chunk of metal as a doorstop for years. Eventually, a friend convinced him to get it looked at. A local geologist declared it was actually a rare iron meteorite that had landed in Michigan centuries ago. He ended up selling it for over $100,000, which probably beats any money he saved on not buying a regular doorstop. So next time you see a strange hunk of metal propping open someone's door, you might be looking at a six-figure piece of interplanetary rock. 5. The antique roadshow love letter. People find valuables in old letters all the time, but one man in Massachusetts found something far rarer, a group of antique books in his grandparents' attic that contained personal letters from Abraham Lincoln. Suddenly, that old stack of dusty volumes was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. He almost tossed the books into the donation bin before deciding to look closer. Good thing he waited. He's now set for life. Not many people can say they discovered lost American history hidden in their own attic. 4. A sealed video game gem. Old school video games can fetch insane prices. Some unopened Nintendo and Sega games have been selling for tens of thousands of dollars to big-time collectors. One gamer found a sealed copy of Stadium Events for the NES in a Goodwill store for just $8. After verifying the authenticity, he sold it for over $40,000 online. That's what happens when you have a game so rare most people don't even know it exists. The moral of the story? Don't walk past old video games at thrift shops. You might be skipping over your ticket to paying off your mortgage. 3. The forgotten Picasso sketch. How about finding a doodle by Picasso stuffed inside a second-hand portfolio? A student in California was rummaging through a thrift store's art section for supplies. She saw a vintage-looking portfolio for a couple of dollars and bought it. When she got home, she opened it up and found an original sketch signed by Pablo Picasso. Art experts valued the sketch in the six-figure range. While it wasn't one of Picasso's large paintings, you can bet that kind of money can change a student's life real quick. She joked that she barely had money for rent, then suddenly she had a Picasso just lying around. 2. The rare Gibson guitar in the attic. A teacher in the Midwest was cleaning out his grandfather's attic hoping to find old photographs or memorabilia. Instead, he discovered a dusty guitar case. Inside was a vintage Gibson Les Paul guitar from the 1950s, a holy grail for guitar enthusiasts. Turns out this was a super rare model worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The teacher, who had played a little guitar in high school, had no idea something so valuable had been in his family for decades. He ended up selling it to a collector, paying off his house and putting away a hefty college fund for his kids. Think about it. You might have a fortune hidden in a closet or attic just waiting to be found. 1. The Van Gogh at a garage sale. What's better than spending a couple of bucks on a battered painting only to discover it's by Vincent van Gogh himself? That's exactly what happened to a super lucky buyer in Europe. He thought he was buying a cheap reproduction for pocket change, but after an art restorer cleaned the canvas and removed layers of dirt, they found the hidden signature of the famous master. That single painting ended up selling for millions at auction, instantly catapulting the buyer into millionaire status overnight. Imagine rummaging through a stack of pictures that smell like an old basement, only to discover you're basically holding a winning lottery ticket. Here's what's next. These stories prove that life-changing fortunes can be found in the unlikeliest of places. A ragged couch from the thrift store could have someone's life savings. Your old attic might be hiding a family heirloom that's worth a small fortune. Or maybe you're a yard sale treasure hunter who's just one find away from striking it rich. Whether it's an ancient bowl, a mint-condition baseball card, or a painting by a world-renowned artist, these discoveries remind us that unbelievable luck can happen to anyone. Anytime, anywhere. So keep your eyes open, do a bit of research, and remember, sometimes what looks like junk could turn out to be a genuine gold mine. Hit that subscribe button and let us know which of these unbelievable finds blew your mind the most.